Hashem spoke to Moshe. The Moshe spoke to the heads of tribes. Okay. So what does it mean? Achov akedem tzartani. Before and after you have formed me. It means after the Maaseh Bereshit, after the creation of the Bereshit. Okay, what does that mean? Truthfully, the world is created with 10 utterances. The ten utterances, they represent the 10 spheres of Tikkun. When it says Hior represents Chokhmah, as it says in the Zohar. The 10 spheres of Atzilus, they are Gali, completely Gali. So how, from there, can we create the 3 lower worlds, which feel separate? That they're Bali Gvul, there's limitations. And they're completely limited, they're separated from godliness. Echem mitlabshim liot ruach v'nefesh lebiyah. How could they, being clothed to be a ruach and nefesh of biyah, of the 3 lower worlds? As it says in the pasuk, shishim hema melachot. There are 60 queens, as it talks about in the miflagecha le'ilai, the hormis mifageg latatai.
60.
Yes, there's a pasuk in the Torah, so explain basically. So how did it happen that something that's godly came down into the 3 lower worlds? So it's through the breaking of the vessels of Tohu. That when they broke, the lights fell down into the broken shards down below of Noga, and they turned into a yesh. They turned into feeling their own existence, which basically any self-importance. Okay, whenever a person, let's say, is worried about something or any type of negative emotion is coming from the fact that it's a breaking of the Shvir to Kalim. So if someone cannot, let's say, someone can't subjugate himself to a certain structure, Al-Pi Torah, or in terms of his relationships with himself and with other people, then it's coming from the breaking of the vessels. Because of the yeshus that comes inside of a person. The person feels himself very strongly, so his ego gets in the way. Okay, you're going to see it in the pamphlet I printed out. It discusses these things. Okay,
so ego gets in his way, and
that's the breaking of the vessels of Tohu, because they mainly broke in the midos. As we said, in the mind, they didn't break, rather they fell. Okay. Now, in order that by being the breaking of the vessels of Tohu, that the lights fell down in the Noga. So what do we have? We had a creation called Yesh. There is something that feels himself. You feel yourself, okay? You feel the feelings that you're having, the emotions that you're having. Okay? Why is it so strong? Why do you feel these negative things? Because you're part of the shards of the broken vessel. When the vessel is whole, you're a part of something greater than yourself. When the vessel's broke, then you are now, look at me, I feel like this, I feel like that. Okay?
You don't feel part of God.
You don't feel, well, not even part of it, meaning you broke any ability to have unity. Okay?
Connection. Unity.
Even with other people, if you're in a broken state, which basically you're born in that state unless you refine yourself, you're not going to be around other people. Okay, now if you're in a fixed state, it doesn't mean it also could be you can't be around people, because maybe a lot of people are broken still. Okay, you have to be around fixed people that have the things in order.
So we say that from the beginning, this is what you are. You are a broken shard from the beginning of your life.
Mm-hmm.
And unless you really work on yourself, you are going to continue to be a broken shard.
Mm-hmm.
And you're not going to be able to understand Torah to the standpoint that, wow, it makes sense.
100.
You won't be able to have good relationships with people.
100. Yeah, your relationships won't work. You won't be able to fit into structures. You're not going to be able to fit into marriages, parenting, or any type of structure, frameworks. Let's say coming to base midrash. Say someone, he cannot nullify himself to fit into the standards of where he is at, but rather he wants to bring his own standards.
Now we're talking about Jewish people.
Oh yeah, I mean everyone
No,
has.
but-
Even I'm saying everyone has these broken vessels, but I'm
So then
saying
everybody else, they don't have the Torah.
to
So
fix
how
it.
is it that they can be able to move past?
They have other methods, but it's not the same thing. We have to fix it on a very deep level, really. That's the truth. There's a lot of things to fix, and the soul goes very deep, and the psychology of the ego goes very deep, and we trick ourselves very deeply all the time until you get to the point of truth of what's actually happening
How can
inside
an Arab
of you.
fix himself?
What do you say?
How can an Arab fix himself?
Can't.
There just is
They could
so
try their
much,
best. They try
too
their
much.
best. I'm saying because there's already a strong. There's a very. It's what the Gemara says that the Gerim are kasher Israel like a safachat. Safachat means, you know what that means? It means a thorn in their hair. What's it called when you have something in your hair stuck?
A thorn
Like a
in your
lice?
side.
No, like what's it called when you have a thing in your hair? You take out.
Oh yeah, those are lice.
There's also something else. There's another word. Sometimes you get things stuck in your hair. You have to take them out. So he's saying, why is that? Because every Jew is actually has to convert to Judaism. How does he convert to Judaism? He has to basically break his desire for the Gashmias and come into the Shekhinah. So if someone who converts, he has a deeper mix of good and bad to break through. It's a very hard job. You have to provide very deep things from the Sitra Achra. Okay? That's basically what happens over there. It's brought down in the other Sfarim. Okay? Okay, so now now basically what happened is these blood vessels broke, okay? And what broke? The letters. The letters of the vessels. Okay? When the letters are connected together, Beit or Gimel, two or three letters together, they make one word, which is a vessel, and it's a receptacle for a specific understanding or idea. But when you separate the letters from each other, every letter is by themselves, no intellect could be enclosed in them. Okay? And that's what it means that the light goes out of the vessel. So when the vessels are put in the right way, a very specific way, basically we talked about today, any type of vessel a person is creating in this world, you have to make it clear that the vessels is in the right way. So if a person, let's say we're talking about, standards, institutional standards, or a person has a job, or a person is a father. So basically there are specific ways for that vessel to express itself. And if you're not aligned with it properly, the light is not going into that vessel. Okay, but when you're aligned properly, light will go into the vessel. Okay?
Otherwise, you're going to get fired.
It's going to have breaking vessels. It's going to be torn apart. Things are going to break. Now, people hold things together for a long time when it's broken, but people are living in brokenness. But if you really look at the truth of the matter, you'll be like, okay, this works, this doesn't work. You can't, if you look honestly, you can't continue living. You can't actually live in a broken vessel. It doesn't actually work because there's no light in the broken vessel.
So what are you talking about when you say relationships with the parents? You're talking about when they grow up.
Or I'm saying the way you relate to your mom or your dad or your son, whatever it is, a thing. How do you relate to them that the vessel should be whole? What does that actually entail, al pi Torah, for you to do? Or like for example, here we make a certain Torah framework of learning in the Beis Midrash. If someone can't respect the framework and the framework has to bend to them because they cannot adjust to the framework, well, that's a broken vessel. It'll break the vessel, and the Torah transmission is going to be very compromised in such a state. Now, are people aware of the truth, of the reality of how things are? No, 90% of people don't know about this. The behaviors are running on subconscious ego scripts. But if you go and break it down, you get a glimpse of what's actually happening beneath the surface. Let's say in relationships, a person treats someone in a specific way. You go deep. Why do they do that? What's the reason? You go deeper and deeper into it, and you realize, a person's belief about a specific thing is not true. So his whole thing is channeling through this belief that he has and that's breaking a leak in the vessel, and therefore the marriage is suffering for 20 years. You know what I'm saying? Okay, now, again, how many people are aware of these things? Maybe 5% of people.
So you're saying that even 5% of people is pretty strong, it might be less.
I mean, yeah, because the masses, they don't later say, okay, it is what they're going to say, I married someone that's not nice.
They blame the other person.
They're going to be like, okay, the person's mean, or the person, has a bad bone, or whatever the thing is, without tracing it back.
My husband and wife is crazy.
The person's crazy. They grew up with crazy mom. I don't know what you're gonna say. Anything possible. And now part of that could be true. I'm saying part of it could be true, but I'm saying when you go deeper into what's actually happening, why are these two things merge? Causing friction in this specific way. Well, that's a leak in the vessel. The vessel is not tied in properly. Okay. Because the light cannot dwell if the vessel is broken. But once the vessel is complete, the structure, the framework is 100%, then guess what kind of light is going to come down? You hold a standard to something, whether in your relationships or the things you're doing. The person holding a real standard is going to draw down a light that's not compared to a compromised standard. Automatically, because of the way it's operating, okay? And some people don't want high standards. They want to be loose. Why would someone want to be loose? What's the reason behind that?
Why to be loose?
What's the reason behind someone wanting to be loose? It has to do, well, what are they afraid of if it was strict?
They're
afraid of,
come up to par.
Why not? They feel inadequate.
They have too much broken vessel.
What is it? They feel inadequate, or they feel they don't want to bend to someone else's structure because that'll admit that the other person is holding the structure and they're not. It could be all these kind of things that cause a person not to want to bend to someone else. And therefore, it's causing a leak in the vessel. One little thing like that in the truth, if you look at it in truth of what's happening, one wrong belief, one wrong emotion, it could be a subtle, tiny action that represents what's happening. You already broke a vessel, basically. Okay? So the Torah, you have to fix it. Why do so many halachas, so many standards? What's the deal? Because the Torah is telling you how to perfect the vessels, how to get the vessels to the highest degree, so that the haskala, the aspect of the intellect, which is the light that needs to dwell amongst it, will dwell, and then the vessel will actually be contained with a unified aspect of expression. Okay? That's basically what's happening here. Okay? So, fight to just poskim. People just basically go with what they're feeling as a reason for why whatever standard is trying to be portrayed is not good, because they feel that
they need an excuse.
It's challenging something in their ego structure of their nefesh bahamit, their animal soul, which is a result of the broken vessels. So the fact that it's challenging that part actually supposed to be a good thing. But instead, majority of people will feel that tension, whatever that emotion is, and they're gonna automatically tell themselves, this is bad. That person's the problem for doing it because it makes me feel like this, as opposed to saying, why am I bothered by this thing? What is inside of me that is broken that I need to fix, whether an emotion or my reasoning about my life or beliefs that I have, that I need to switch in order for that thing not to bother me anymore, because I started with a broken vessel, and I surely need to fix the broken vessel now in order to unite in the bigger picture to draw down the ore that needs to be come down. That's basically what's happening, okay?
And they explain the Torah wrong. So the idea is they can't get the
true Torah, yeah, because they're looking in their own lens as broken, and they're never gonna get it like that until you look inside. Okay.
Unfortunately, we have a number number of commentaries that will allow you to see the things wrong.
Yeah, they're gonna allow you to see the thing. Yeah, people. Yeah, so you have to be careful on people's opinions because most people are in a state where they're not so. They're not fixed. Okay, especially if someone's not in a fixed state, then basically,
Their commentaries are going to be a problem.
yeah, you can't trust what they're saying.
You have to be very, very careful what you read
Yeah,
and how you interpret it.
exactly. So that's the breaking of the vessels. Now, basically, nonetheless, even though the vessel's broken, there's no light inside of it. Nonetheless, in truth, there is a remnant of a spark from the light. Okay, from every letter united together, b'tziruf echad, in one unification. Okay, since they had the original unification, so now everything in its broken state has the spark of where it needs to go in truth afterwards. Nonetheless, it's just a spark and a remnant alone, but the essence of light is removed from the vessel. Okay,
But what you're saying is very good.
it's a very important thing. Yeah.
Is that there are people that they will go on a good path once they get a good piece of information.
I mean, if someone has the honesty to basically look at himself
That honesty
and say what is
Where does that
broken
come
inside of me, where does honesty come from?
interesting. Is
What
that-
makes a person a bit able to be like, okay, I want to be honest with myself and analyze what happened and see the truth,
Exactly.
even if I'm wrong about it. Okay, it's in my
That
pamphlet.
person
I
has
talk about it in my
something-
pamphlet.
It's very interesting because that could be from themselves.
It's always the inner thing. It's the great matrix of the broken vessel of their animal soul that's explaining one thing in another way a million times over to completely trick them into where they're really at. Okay? Now, in the physical vessels, if a vessel is bottled to the wine that's in it, as it says in the Mishnah, Hamatzniya motzi ochlin b'chol mishiur b'kli patur. Okay, in the Masechet Shabbos, you have a vessel, and it has food on. So we're saying the vessel is bottled to the food, and you're only patur of al asidir banan to bring it outside. Okay. Now, if the vessel breaks and it becomes a shard, it becomes its own thing. You're not allowed bringing it outside, even doraita. Okay, so it's the same thing above. When the light is enclosed into the vessels, then the vessel could be unified to the light. And that's what it means. The 10 spheres of Tikkun, they're one with God. To the Ein Sof itself, they're completely nullified. But in Tohu, when they broke, and then the vessels went away, the light went away from the vessels, okay, and then they came down like pieces of shard by itself, and it's not unified to the wine. Okay, basically, so they're like letters scattered all over earth. So our job is to really fix this stuff. Okay, so breaking the vessels that are the letters that are separated, it created all of these feelings of independent. Okay, someone asked a good question. How do we fix our broken soul? So the way to really fix it, we're seeing, is when a person is learning Torah, or we talked about, this parsha talks about vows. If you look at my previous videos, you're going to see the vows. So basically, the Torah itself gives you the access to reach the level that's beyond the brokenness. And when you're learning in such a way, it transforms your being by being honest with yourself within the learning. And then you're able to reach that light that comes from the Soviv, the transcending light, and that light actually puts you in a fixed state. And we said it's when you reach a level called the Ruta Liba, your will of your heart comes out, that goes beyond your intellect. Okay? Now, basically, how do you handle being wrong? You have to basically just be honest with it. You have to be okay with being wrong. If you're wrong, and then you're wrong. It's like if you feel insulted that you're wrong, then you have to say, why do I feel insulted that I'm wrong? What is causing me to be afraid to be wrong? Is it because, a person grew up in a house where he only got validation from his parents when he was right about something or smart about something? So therefore, he might have a belief that only if I'm right about things, then I can live my life and feel good about myself. But if I'm wrong about it, I can't feel good about myself. Therefore, I'm living my whole life in this broken pattern.
do we say that women are even more difficult to be able to admit they're wrong?
Yeah, why? The reason why, it's a very good question. It says because women receive their life force from honor, from kavod, the Zohar says. So if you, a woman admitting that she's wrong, it destroys her honor, which actually destroys her life force. Okay. So it takes away. So she actually feels like she's a mini version of like killing herself if she's wrong. Therefore, it's not really a man's job to show that his wife is wrong, but at the same time, she could still learn how to be more honest with herself. Nonetheless, but when a man fights another man, Gemara argument is not so. Okay, fine. Like we saw yesterday in the Ramak, who's his Yurtzeit, is that we said it. Well, the left side is for the women and not for the man. So anything to do with the world, you have to basically do it with the kavanah for your wife, and then she could elevate the thing itself because she comes from the left side. Osher v'kavod, honor and wealth is the left side. So it's not for a man to have such a thing. A man has to come to the level of honesty and chesed. Okay? And basically all the other things he has to elevate it. Now, basically, so then when they break, the vessels break, and then we have separate existences, we feel separate and all these different aspects. Okay?
But then it comes into life. You come in with broken vessels.
All right, but now what you have part of your soul that's broken, which is your animal soul. Okay, your animal soul is broken. Now what happens here? Your godly soul is inside your animal soul. Your godly soul comes from the 10 spheres of tikkun. Those are fixed. So part of you, if you relate to your godly soul, that's why if you see people, if they get too much into psychology, that they start identifying themselves with their problems too much, they basically forgot that they have a godly soul. That's why it's the importance of learning Hasidus and Kabbalah. It reminds you that you're a piece of Hashem and you have a part of yourself that's perfect. That's a state of perfection, the 10 spheres of tikkun, that they're united with the Ein Sof. Okay, and there's no yeshus could come out of that. Okay, that's why your mind has to rule over your heart. Why does your mind rule over your heart? Because your heart is broken. It comes from the Nefesh Bahamis. So whenever you feel these things, you have to rule over it with your mind so you don't fall into a broken state. Okay, now we do say, there's another point it's not brought down here, but it says about the Chokhmah and Bina and Das that they didn't break necessarily, but they fell. So you can have a fallen state of your intellect. But it's not broken, the same as your midos. Your midos, the emotions are a whole different thing. But when it comes to intellect, there's fallen states of intellect, but it's not broken the same way your heart is. Okay? Or whatever, your emotions, whatever that thing is. Okay? Part of your heart. Not in your blood. Okay? Now the 10 utterances, they are from the 10 spheres of Tohu. And then what happens is they get enclosed in the 10 spheres of Ban, which is basically the name of Hashem that's within the Malchus, called Ban. Because if you take Yud-Kei Vav-Kei and you spell it with the permutations that have a Hey in it, which is the aspect of the Malchus, it comes like a match of 52. So we say that Shem Havaya and Shem Ban. Okay? Okay, if anyone wants pamphlets of this week's learning, I have all of this summarized in some pamphlets. We just hand it out here, but I have digital copies too. Okay?
Is Ban in here?
Yeah, it explains it in there, the last, okay? Now, those are the 10 utterances of the Malchus of Atzilus, which is the world of speech. Okay, now we're getting back to the Neder, is the aspect of speech, okay? We're going to discuss some of these points. Malchus of Atzilus represents Shem Ban that fell from Shem Sag. Sag is 63, is this tikkun of Ban, okay? That's where it says when God told Avram to listen to Sarah's voice, it's because they were talking to Avram and Sarah because they already completely fixed themselves in the perfected state. So Avraham was Shem Ma and Sarah was Shem Sag. Therefore, in that level, Sag is higher than Ma, so he listened to her voice. Okay?
Where do we see that they fix themselves to the...
It's in the Mimer of the Mittler Rebbe on that Parsha, I think. Now, through the letters, because they saw the Olam Haba in their lives, so because they're living in a state of perfection, and because they completely refine themselves. Okay. Now, through the letters of Shem Ban, which is the source of the letters of the Shveta Kelim, that creates the independent existence of feeling separated. So therefore, in the world of Biyah, we also have both aspects. We have Ma and Ban, which is the Pnimius and the Chitzonius. And between each specific creation of kedusha of the three lower worlds, the pnimius, and then the shama is bittul. Okay, which means you have a soul. Your soul's fixed. If you revealed your godly soul, if that was revealed to you, even at the level of chaya, which is a very high level of revelation, you'll be living at a different level if you had chaya revealed to you. Okay, then what is perfection?
Chayan Yechida.
Yeah, I'm saying even just chaya, I'm saying a very high level to reveal it. You understand what the truth is because that's revealed to you at that level. You'll be like this. I know what the truth is. But if you don't reveal any of your soul and you're working at a very low level, you'll be completely confused with the truth is. You're gonna mix up all the Torah. You're gonna say, you don't have to do this, you don't have to do that. You make it all the lowest barrier entry because you're not being honest with how you're looking at yourself. So you basically make the lowest barrier entry and you say, that's Torah, we have to do now, we can't do anything more. And then you basically, that's it, you have a chance to fix certain things, you're not gonna really look at yourself in the true way that you need to. Now it says the host of the heavens battle unto Hashem. That comes from Shema. The chitzonius. So basically, the fact that the orbits of the sky go down to the west, so it means it goes to the Shechina. So the inner aspect of the world is Shema, because okay, now the chitzonius is the vessel or the body is the same ban, as it says. When
The sky go down to the what?
They bow down to the Shechina. In the west, we say, or east, I forget. Basically, the fact that they go towards the Shechina shows that they have a neshama. Okay, then the neshama is fixed, and the body is Shemban. Okay, and now in general we have the pnimius of Bia, that are the souls and the angels, that they have the aspect of bittul, because they were created from tikkun. It's a fixed through Shemba Ban Al Yedei Ma. The Chitzonius is the Hechalot, the Noga. The Hechalos basically means the chambers of Noga. Okay? The chambers of Noga, they are Yesh, that came from the 288 sparks in the Shvirat Kelim that were not fixed yet. Okay? We'll pause it here.
When we say Noga right now, it's not Klipa Noga, right? It's some other thing.
Klipa Noga, yeah. What we're saying, there's an aspect where does Noga exist in the Hechalos?
Is when you absolutely take the opportunity to do everything within physicality.
Exactly. Everything that's mutar, that needs refinement, is Klipas Noga.